On the question about BDS in Israel, thank you so much for asking. It completely slipped in my presentation. I think it's very important to say that despite the small size of Israeli citizens, Jewish Israeli citizens, who are supporting the BDS movement, Boycott from Within, the Coalition of Women for Peace, Alternative Information Center, and so on, Zuchrot, and so on, despite their small size, the effect of this movement in Israel is extremely important. Not only morally, not only is it a noble movement that's really saying that Israelis do not have to be all vicious and fascists. They can help us achieve self-determination, and by doing that they become more humanized themselves. Oppression works in a very nasty way. It dehumanizes the oppressed and the oppressors. Both of us lose it. So this is a way to rehumanize both the oppressors and the oppressed. And I think it's the response to the peace industry, which has existed since Oslo, since 1993. Some Israelis, mostly on the so-called Zionist left, thought that, to help end occupation and attain Palestinian rights, it's best to have those women to women, youth to youth, democracy workshops, just Romeo and Juliet in dance. I'm a dance choreographer, so Romeo and Juliet, an Israeli and a Palestinian, how lovely. The Europeans love that, and they pay millions for that, such kind of nonsense. In response to this trash, the peace industry trash, I think some Israelis, really principled Israelis, said, no, we have to listen to the oppressed. They're saying boycott, divestment, sanctions are the minimal, non-violent, effective strategy to attain Palestinian rights, and we should support that, and we really appreciate that. It is helping us a lot in our boycott campaigns across the world. We could not have achieved the huge victory we had with the Norwegian pension fund, the third largest pension fund in the world, some $300 billion. We achieved a huge victory by convincing the Norwegians to divest from 3 Israeli companies involved in the occupation and violations of international law. It took Adala New York, a BDS campaign in the US, the Coalition of Women for Peace, especially the wonderful who profits from the occupation project, and the BNC. Collectively, it was a truly global campaign to convince the Norwegians, and we won together. So that victory is a collective victory, I think, and our Israeli partners played a key role, and we're very proud of that role. Final point in that is that it's building a future of coexistence built on justice, not built on fooling the oppressed into a subset of their rights and saving Israel as an apartheid. It's a very important distinction. Those who support partial boycott to save Israel as an apartheid state are not really doing it for the Palestinian people. They're doing it for apartheid, to save apartheid. We want to end all forms of oppression, and in doing so, we're opposed to every form of racism, including anti-Semitism. That's very important to very clarify. We're opposed to all forms of racism. So I think we're together building a future of coexistence based on international law, full equality, freedom, justice, and human rights. بالنسبة لمعايير المقاطعة, okay, I'll answer this in English because it concerns international boycott. What are the criteria for the boycott? Is it self-determination for the Palestinians? Can we ask an individual Israeli, what do you support? Full set of rights? We don't boycott Israeli individuals. It's very important to make that distinction. The BDS movement targets Israeli institutions, not individuals. Even the academic and cultural boycott never targeted Israeli individuals. We boycott the institutions because of their complicity and partnership in crime. They're part of this system of oppression, very important part. When you talk about the Israeli Academy, they're an extremely important partner in the system of oppression against us. So we never call for boycotting individuals. We don't have a political test where we ask an Israeli, do you support this or not, and then you're a good Israeli or a bad Israeli. We don't do this. On principle, we don't do this. We're boycotting Israeli institutions. So each institution, to be free from the boycott, has to end its complicity with the system of oppression. Finally, I just want to make a quick comment to end, is that the Israeli establishment is looking at BDS as a strategic threat. They said that. In one institution, they said it can develop into an existential threat, even. Imagine, BDS, non-violent movement, can be an existential threat. This goes hand in hand with all the propaganda that BDS is about delegitimizing Israel, delegitimizing the Jewish people, and so on. What exactly are we delegitimizing by asking for freedom, equality, and justice? Did equality delegitimize the existence of Afrikaners in South Africa? Did it end the existence of South Africa? Did equality end the existence of southern states in the US when segregation was ended? The only thing equality ends is racism and a system of racial discrimination. Anyone who is afraid of equality is someone who wants to maintain a system of racial discrimination. Therefore, BDS only delegitimizes apartheid, oppression, and occupation, and really hopes to achieve justice and freedom for all. Thank you.